Top 2 Indian head cents worth big money. Welcome to Numismatic Vault Extra. Today, we're exploring 2 of the most valuable Indian head cents from the United States of America, United States. In this video, we'll take a close look at their current market values, highlight well-known era coins, and explain the specific conditions that make certain Indian head cents extremely rare. This includes pure copper compositions, unique color shades, and special characteristics that have made these coins major players in the coin collector and investor world. These rare treasures are not just pieces of history. They are also some of the most valuable coins collectors are actively hunting today. So, if you're a coin enthusiast, an investor, or someone who appreciates the beauty and significance of American currency, backhand index pointing right, this video is for you. Let's get started with the first coin. Magnifying glass tilted left money bag. The 1878 Indian head 1 cent. A copper relic with the power of time. In the quiet corners of American history, long before paper money ruled and before digital numbers replaced physical value, small copper coins carried the weight of a nation. Among them, the 1878 Indian head 1 cent stands as a survivor from an age when every penny mattered. This is not just an old coin, it is a witness to struggle, ambition, and transformation. The year 1878 belonged to a very different America. The nation was healing from deep wounds, rebuilding itself piece by piece. Railroads stretched across the land, cities expanded, and ordinary people relied on hard metal coins to survive day by day. In that world, a single cent had meaning, power, and purpose. The Indian head cent was struck without a mint mark, a quiet signature of the Philadelphia Mint, where American coinage first took shape. There was no need for identification then. Philadelphia was the heart of the nation's money. Every coin leaving its presses carried authority without explanation. The design itself speaks volumes. The figure often mistaken for a Native American is actually a symbolic image of liberty, wearing a feathered headdress to represent strength, dignity, and respect for the land's original spirit. Her gaze is calm, steady, and unyielding, qualities America desperately needed at the time. Made primarily of copper, the 1878 Indian head cent feels different from modern coins. It carries warmth, density, and presence. Copper ages like memory itself, darkening, softening, and recording every touch. Each mark on the surface is not damage, it is evidence of life. When this coin entered circulation, it passed through countless hands. Farmers, factory workers, shopkeepers, children, and travelers all used it without hesitation. It bought bread, ink, nails, and hope. It traveled dusty roads and crowded streets, absorbing the energy of a growing nation. Millions of Indian head cents were minted during their era, yet survival was never guaranteed. Copper was valuable, often melted down, reused, or lost to time. Fires, floods, and war erased countless examples. The ones that remain today did not survive by design, but by chance. The 1878 issue holds special meaning because it sits firmly in the mature years of the Indian head cent series. By then, the design was familiar, trusted, and woven into daily life. This was not an experimental coin, it was a workhorse of the American economy. Collectors understand that true value grows from history and condition working together. A well-preserved Indian head cent from 1878 is not just rare, it is intact memory. Sharp details, readable lettering, and original copper tone turn a small cent into a preserved chapter of the past. There is something humbling about holding such a coin. It reminds us that wealth once moved slowly, earned through effort and patience. A single cent could matter more than $1 does today. That perspective gives the coin emotional power beyond any price. As decades turned into generations, these cents were tucked away in drawers, jars, and family keepsakes. Many were saved not for money, but for feeling. They felt important, old, heavy with story. That instinct preserved more history than intention ever could. The copper surface of an 1878 Indian head cent tells its own story. Red tones speak of youth, brown tones of age, deep chocolate shades of endurance. No 2 coins age the same way, making each survivor unique, like fingerprints of time. In the modern coin market, Indian head cents are respected not because they promise instant riches, but because they represent permanence. They are reminders of an America built with hands, sweat, and tangible value. Their worth lies in what they endured. This is why experienced collectors always pause before dismissing old copper coins. Once spent, altered, or damaged, history disappears forever. Once preserved, history continues to speak. Awareness is the difference between loss and legacy. In the end, the 1878 Indian head 1 cent is more than money. It is a survivor, a teacher, and a symbol of quiet strength. It reminds us that fortune does not always arrive overnight, but history, when respected, has the power to change how we see everything we hold in our hands. Next up, the 1894 Indian head 1 cent. A copper survivor from America's Gilded Age. In the long journey of American money, few coins feel as alive as the Indian head 1 cent, and fewer still carry the quiet authority of an 1894 issue without a mint mark. This small copper coin was born in an era when the nation was confident, ambitious, and racing toward modernity. Today, it survives as a whisper from that world, holding stories far greater than its size. The year 1894 belonged to a rapidly changing America. Cities were growing upward, factories were humming, and the country was finding its place as an industrial power. Yet daily life still depended on hard money. A single cent could buy newspapers, candies, matches, or a moment of relief for a working family. In that world, coins mattered deeply. The Indian head cent of 1894 was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which is why it carries no mint mark. At the time, Philadelphia stood as the unquestioned heart of American coinage. Its presses produced money not for collectors, but for life itself. Coins meant to circulate, wear, and serve. The design on the coin reflects the spirit of its age. The figure on the obverse is often mistaken for a Native American, but she is a symbolic liberty, wearing a feathered headdress to express strength, dignity, and national identity. Her calm, steady gaze reflects an America that believed in endurance and progress. Struck in copper, the 1894 Indian head cent carries warmth and weight. Unlike modern coins, it does not feel disposable. Copper records time honestly. It darkens, softens, and absorbs history, making each surviving coin a unique artifact shaped by every hand it passed through. When these cents entered circulation, they moved through every layer of society. They jingled in pockets, rested on wooden counters, and slipped across palms in countless small transactions. They were not saved for beauty, they were used for survival, making their continued existence all the more remarkable. Millions of Indian head cents were struck during the series, but survival was never guaranteed. Copper was valuable, often reclaimed, melted, or lost. Fires, economic hardship, and simple neglect erased countless examples. The coins that remain today survived not by intention, but by fortune. The 1894 issue holds special significance because it represents a mature moment in the series. By then, the Indian head cent was familiar and trusted, deeply woven into everyday life. It was not a novelty, it was a necessity. Collectors understand that true value emerges when history and condition meet. An 1894 Indian head cent with readable lettering, defined details, and stable copper surfaces becomes more than a cent. It becomes a preserved fragment of a nation's daily rhythm. Holding such a coin creates an emotional connection to the past. It reminds us that wealth once moved slowly and tangibly. Every cent was earned through effort, and money carried physical presence. That reality gives the coin meaning far beyond numbers. Over generations, these coins slipped into jars, drawers, and family keepsakes. Many were saved not for profit, but because they felt old and important. That instinct preserved history where intention did not. The copper surface of an 1894 Indian head cent tells its own story. Some retain hints of original brightness, others wear deep brown or chocolate tones. Each shade marks a different journey through time, making every survivor unique. In today's coin market, Indian head cents are respected because they represent permanence in a world that constantly changes. They are reminders of an America built with hands, labor, and physical value. Their importance grows as distance from that era increases. This is why experienced collectors pause before dismissing old copper coins. Once altered, damaged, or spent without thought, history is lost. Once preserved, history continues to speak clearly across generations. In the end, the 1894 Indian head 1 cent is not just old money. It is a survivor of ambition, industry, and everyday life. It teaches us that even the smallest coin can carry immense historical power, and that recognizing what we hold is often the first step toward understanding true value.